The Fowler Show, we're talking about all about the vote. It's a new 501c3 nonprofit based out of Maryland, run by the former Maryland Party Chair, Yvette Lewis. Yvette Lewis is here with us here at the Fowler Show. Fowler Nation, give her some love. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. Delighted to talk about this.
So tell me, it's all about the vote.
Yes. Why? Because since President Obama took office, we now have 32 states that have some type of voter ID law, some type of voter restriction. That means that somebody recognizes the power of your vote. And that's because we had record turnout in 2008 and 2012 among millennials and people of color. And when you're trying to affect a certain outcome, the best way to do that sometimes is to make it difficult for people to vote. All About the Vote doesn't editorialize. What we do is educate. Okay. And we do it through social media with digital videos that make people aware of what the voting laws are now and the voting requirements are in every state.
So, I mean, I think it's really important. And we're seeing a turn. I think people across the country have figured out that some of these voter suppression laws are really bad. I mean, a couple weeks back, the courts indicated the Texas ID law was one of the most regressive laws, and it rolled it back. Right, so how are we educating folks in Texas and folks in Georgia and folks in North Carolina about some of these regressive policies?
And isn't that good? Because those are my states. The states that I'm targeting: Virginia, Georgia, North Carolina, and Texas. So what we've done is a series of videos that will be uploaded into social media. Very educational, very lighthearted. Hey, you know, we know that you're used to voting and you go to the booth, you vote, but this year things have changed. You need an ID. And this is the type of ID you need. This is where you need to go to get the ID. Know before you go. That's basically our motto.
And how many folks do you plan on reaching?
Well, actually, the way we're doing it, we're doing about 70,000 in each congressional district. So we've targeted 3 congressional districts.
Which ones?
2, 5, and 7 in North Carolina. I have several that, and it's broken down by congressional districts and states. Sorry, I don't have it in front of me. But we have targeted the districts, and what we've done with the vendor that we're working with, these voters are already uploaded into social media because they voted in the past, so they're part of a voter
file. So you're
file.
finding folks who have, not necessarily your super voters, but who are on the fringe. So they might have voted in the last presidential or the presidential before that, but they didn't vote in the midterms.
And things could have changed, right? And that's why we're educating them, because the ID law may not have been in effect in 12. They went into effect in 14. You show up in 16 and you don't know. And they're not necessarily fringe voters, because really what I'm trying to do is protect the voters that we already have. So these are not, new voters. They may be regular voters who just aren't paying attention to the changes that are taking place. And we just want to be sure that they are fully aware and fully equipped.
And you were also, you were a former party chair, and so you're here at the Democratic National Convention with what I like to call the big business meeting for the party. What is the one speech that's inspired you so far?
Ooh, that's hard to say, because each time I hear a speech, I get touched more. Michelle Obama is at the top of the list.
For sure.
Michelle Obama, just because of the grace and the dignity and the beauty that she expressed what she had to express. But then I look at the mothers of the movement. And, to hear those mothers as an African-American mother with a son, you can't help but feel their pain. The fact that they could even stand there and want to make a difference through their pain, that touched me more than I can ever express to you. So those were the 2 I think that have been the highlights for me so far. I love Bill Clinton. I love the way he told his wife's story, because everyone says, well, Hillary Clinton has been out there for 30 years. Everybody knows her. I have a 30-year-old daughter. No, she doesn't. So that was an introduction to her, right? To millennials who only have an image of what they think.
Do you think millennials are going to be key to for Hillary winning this election?
I think that once we get her out there and we tell that same story, especially something Bill Clinton said when he talked about all of the things that she had done by the time she was 30. And I think that really will resonate with people, young millennials, to say, you know what, she did all of that by the time she was 30. I want to get involved. That inspires me to do the kind of work in social justice and to bring about change in my community in the same way that she did. And I felt that was a wonderful connection to make to young people. So yes, and I can tell you from just anecdotally, my son is a Bernie supporter. And he said, Mom, I talked to him last night, I never knew that stuff. So that's the beginning.
So you're saying, you're thinking that, this can, when we walk out of here on Thursday, Bernie supporters will be all in line and ready not only to vote for Hillary, but to be as enthusiastic for her as they were for Bernie. You think it's going to take some more time?
It's going to take some time, and I think we need to give them time. We need to honor their grief, we need to respect their grief, and we need to give them a chance to work through the process. I will tell you, I was co-chair of Martin O'Malley's campaign. He's my governor, a progressive governor, and I had to go through that grieving process when he dropped out. So I respect that and I understand that. And to try to get people to shift too quickly, that's
unreasonable. Do you think Martin
unreasonable.
O'Malley's going to the cabinet?
I don't know. I really don't know, but I really do hope that Martin continues to be out there because his voice is too important to not be heard. One of the things that I like about my governor is he sits right in the middle. By that I mean he has worked with the establishment, but he's governed as a progressive. Death penalty, marriage equality, college affordability, gun control, climate change. We did all of that in Maryland. And he is a true progressive, but he was a progressive that was able to convince the establishment that this is the way to go. He has that ability to bring those two worlds together, so I certainly hope he does stay out there.
And so, and tell me something. So, Hillary Clinton, tonight President Obama will speak. So depending on when our audience sees this, he would have already spoken, or he's going to speak, or he will speak, depending on when you watch when they either get on the radio or you watch it on YouTube. What do you expect this president to say? You are a member of his, you're on his council on presidential scholars. What do you think he's going to say?
Well, it's not so much what he's going to say, it's how he's going to say it.
And how is he going to say it?
He has an amazing ability to caress with the spoken word, unlike anyone that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Sure.
And he has a way of bringing you in to what he's trying to convince you of. He's probably one of the most brilliant minds that I have experienced in my lifetime in this office. And he's someone who I really do believe is a person of conviction, not convenience, if that makes sense.
No, I get that. That makes total sense.
And he's also someone, I think, who truly loves this country, because he's someone who, like Hillary Clinton, has been knocked down again and again and again, but he stands up because he wants to serve. And I think.
So what do you think will happen now as he leaves? One more question before we go to break. So he's leaving this White House. A black man will be leaving the White House. What do you think will happen for the black community as this president begins to leave and we transition to, no matter what happens, it's going to be a white president?
Well, it's up to the black community. It's up to us. What happens to us, right?
I couldn't say it better myself.
Yes. So it is. Our destiny is our destiny. We're not dependent on a black man or a white man for our success. We are a proud, strong people. We don't need anybody for us to be. Absolutely, we are a successful people, and we are a resilient people because we've been through a lot. And as Cory Booker said, we still rise, and we rise.
Listen, folks. Yvette says, Yvette, we're still standing, and we got to go to a break. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere.